Greetings everyone. My name is Gabriel John Gagante. I am a student of grade 10 Judges, and today, me and Group 5 has prepared a presentation to raise awareness about being prepared before, during, and after an earthquake. But first, let's get this straight first. The reason why you need to be prepared is for those around you and especially yourself. Your goal is to go through an earthquake without much damage to yourself and to those around you. With that out of the way, I would now like to go through the steps as well as tips that I like to give so you can be better prepared during, after, as well as before an earthquake. Steps to take before an earthquake. Preparing yourself as well as those around you is quite simple really, especially if you have outside help. That's why I'll be now going over some tips and steps you can follow before an earthquake. First step is you should prepare your home. Make sure that there's no problems in your connection with their gas, water, and electricity. Another thing is, you should tidy up your home. Make sure no objects can easily fall during an earthquake. Because if one might unluckily fall on you, you'll be injured and that's not something you'd want to happen. Next is, make sure you have a way to easily contact each other. A walkie-talkie you can buy from Amazon or even other online shopping sites will do. Or even your phone, as long as you have a good mobile data plan. Next is an emergency kit. Emergency kits usually include non-perishable foods, water, chargers, radios, light sources, and other items. Make sure you have one on hand or even stock up around your house if you can do that. Finally, make sure to assess every exit you have in the house. The last thing you want after an earthquake is for everyone to not be able to know where the exits are. Make sure everyone has at least a general idea where the exits are. Also make sure that no objects or anything would get in the way when you're leaving your house after an earthquake. Steps during an earthquake. Now that you're in this phase, I'd like you to be the most aware. I don't want you to get distracted or any other things that may able to distract you. Make sure that you're aware where the others are and make sure that no one gets out of sight. Don't worry. Like before, I'd be going over some tips as well as steps you can follow. For my first tip, I'd suggest you avoid any areas where furnitures or even items can possibly fall on you during an earthquake. I'd advise you to stay under heavy tables. The heavy tables that I'm talking about are usually made of wood. Next tip is avoid going outside. Under any circumstances, no one should go outside during an earthquake. The amount of debris or structures that could possibly fall on you during outside is quite enormous. So, obviously, you shouldn't go outside. Next step is make sure you know where everyone is. The last thing you want to happen during an earthquake is for one of the peoples you're with is lost. Make sure that no one gets out of sight and sticks together. Finally, I'd like you to conserve your resources. Remember the emergency kit I asked you to prepare earlier? Make sure the items there are conserved throughout the whole earthquake. You wouldn't want to run out of resources during an earthquake, since you won't have any idea how long it will take for the earthquake to come past, as well as the aftershocks. Steps after an earthquake. So, this is it. Earthquake is over. Of course, this doesn't mean it's entirely safe, unfortunately. There's still some aftershocks you should be worried about. We won't know how strong this aftershocks is, so I'd advise you to stay put. Anyways, I'd be now going over again some tips as well as steps you should follow. For my first tip, as I've said earlier, stay put. You wouldn't know what happened outside or even in some cases inside. So I'd advise you to stay put and listen to the radio for further updates. Next is make sure to keep yourself updated. As I said just a minute ago, you should always keep your radio on so you would know what's happening around yourself. Finally, after a while, you should expect for the radio to tell you can now go outside or it's safe. I want you to do is assess the damages around your house as well as your street. See if there's any fallen trees, destroyed cars, if parts of your house has been broken, any connections that might broke during an earthquake, as well as other things you should worry about. Finally, you should expect authorities to check around the area. Now that you're at that point, you should cooperate with them as much as possible. If there's any questions they might have, answer them. And this, most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, you should give them any injured people. If there's any injury on yourself, those around you, make sure they know immediately. With that, you should congratulate yourself. You just survived an earthquake with minimal damages to yourself as well as those around you. Closing remarks. With that, our presentation is about to come to a close. I sincerely thank you for watching all the way through, and I hope you take away something from this video. Remember, being prepared is just not for yourself, it's also for those around you. Goodbye, everyone, and remember, always stay prepared.